All righty, good, good, good. Okay, so it looks like the audio is coming through loud and clear from what I'm hearing on your end. Now we got a lot of material to cover here today, guys, because what I'm going to be showing you here is something that, quite frankly, I'm about 99.99999% certain you've never seen before. Some of the strategies I'm going to be showing you here are probably going to be a real eye opener to you. There's a lot of misinformation going on out there amongst other trainers, especially when it comes to this particular topic. So my goal here today is just to smash the garbage that's being circulated and show you what actually works, what is proven methodically over and over and over again to work. Not theory, not a bunch of claptrap that, oh, hey, read from somebody else said this works, and so I'm going to go and tell people it does. No, this is stuff that's tested and proven to work. So I hope you guys are excited. This is inbound lead generation. Okay, this is how you get traffic, scoop it up, and funnel it straight to your websites. This is free traffic, guys. Yes, there's effort that has to be expended to get the free traffic, but what you're going to create for yourself by implementing these strategies is something that can serve you for years on end. This isn't a one and done type marketing tool or strategy that I'm going to be showing you. This is something that you can use on an ongoing basis, and it is something that operates 24/7, 7 days a week. So even if you're on vacation, you can still be funneling traffic and capturing leads and applications. That's the cool part. Okay. So you probably see on your screen right now, here's a link. I recommend you go and complete that quick task. Just leave a quick comment on that particular post on this particular page. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Okay. So while we get there, I'm going to shoot on over to, here we go. All right. So we're ready to rock and roll, guys. So it sounds like the audio is loud and clear. We're good to go. And let's have at it. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about advanced inbound lead generation. That's traffic, capturing borrowers, capturing people that are actively in the market looking for what you have to offer. These are people that are shopping for a loan. This isn't cold traffic. These are people that are taking steps to identify, hey, who's the best loan officer in my area? What kind of mortgage loans are available in my area? What do the interest rates look like? These are the types of people that we're targeting. So looking at the National Association of Realtors, you guys have probably seen their profile of home buyers and sellers that they do at the end of each year. So looking at some of their statistics here from the most recent report, we're now at 100% of home shoppers that respond to their, and these are big surveys that they do throughout the year. And this one was for 2016 that was done in December of 2016. So we'll be getting the next one here within the next 30 days. And I think some people may already have an early edition already on their sites. But 100% of their respondents use the internet to research their homes, okay? 78% of new home shoppers visit 3 or more sites prior to taking action on a real estate site. Now, why are we looking at real estate? Well, because these are the guys who are going to need a home loan, right? These are the people that are home buyers, and the bulk of them are going to need a loan. So we need to be targeting the same groups of individuals and get them early in the process. Real estate related searches on Google grew 253% over the past 4 years. Now that statistic's a couple of years old. I haven't seen an updated, this statistic actually came directly from Google themselves, because Google's actually in the lead generation game as well, believe it or not. They capture mortgage and real estate leads. 253% growth of individuals doing real estate related searches. 89% of home shoppers using a mobile search engine at the onset and throughout their research. That was for a 2012 survey from Google. 69% of home shoppers who take action on a real estate website begin their research with a local term. So you guys have probably heard me saying this since 2008, Houston homes for sale on a search engine. So a city specific and the word homes for sale. How about this? Millennials make up the largest share of home buyers at 35%. So that's up to the age of 35. So looking at the way people shop, we already know that, hey, you know what? Search engines matter. We need to be funneling traffic and capturing these individuals from the search engines and pouring them into our pipeline. But why do we specifically need to use Google? Well, first of all, guys, Google accounts for over 94% of all mobile and tablet search traffic globally. Look at the next biggest, Yahoo 3%, and Bing at only 1%. Now that's mobile traffic. Keep in mind that there is more mobile traffic now than desktop traffic. The bulk of the people coming to your websites will be coming from mobile, right? And that number is only going to get bigger and bigger. So it was between 70 and 75% for 2016. I'm curious to see what the 2017 numbers are going to show. Search engines drive 300% more traffic to websites than social media. So social media is important, but when all you ever hear is Facebook, 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 and people just want to talk about marketing with Facebook, well, 300% more traffic is available on the search engines. So we can't be ignoring this tremendous, this massive source of traffic. Google accounts for over 76% of all global desktop search traffic, Bing at 8%, Yahoo at 7%. That was for 2016. So we could just go on and on and on here, but the bottom line is that we need to be tapping into this resource, and the fact that you can get this traffic for free is a very big deal, isn't it? But let's look at the negatives. Let's look at the problematic statistics for loan officers. For most loan officers, 47% of consumers view 3 to 5 pieces of content created by a company before talking to a salesman from that company. Why is that problematic for loan officers? Well, because most loan officers don't even have 3 to 5 pieces of content on their websites. Go take a look at the bulk of websites. I have an opportunity to see literally hundreds, if not thousands, of websites from loan officers and mortgage companies each year, because, well, that's something that we do, is we build them for a lot of folks. And when they come to us, the bulk of them, I mean, you'd be lucky if they to even call it 5 pages for the entire website. And one of those is a contact page. One's a home page. One's typically an empty blog. So there's not even 3 to 5 pieces of content even on the website for these people, these consumers to make a decision. Because why are they reading that content? They're trying to get a good sense of who you are. Hey, can I trust this person? You know, do they sound trustworthy? Do they give good information? Let me get a little feel for who they are as a company, and can they solve my problems? But most loan officers don't have that. 60% of clicks go to the top 3 websites in the search engine results. Well, most loan officers are typically on page 5, 6, 7, 8, the pages that nobody ever goes to. So when they tell me they're not getting any traffic, well, they're not kidding. It's because the bulk of individuals never even go to page 2 of the search results. So you got to be on, not just on the front page, but you really need to be in those top 3 spots. 50% of search queries are 4 words or longer. So the terms that people are typing into the search engines, they're longer search phrases, and most loan officers are trying to rank their websites for something that's maybe 1 or 2 words. Home loans, mortgages, things along those lines, but we can't be doing that, right? We'll talk more about that later. 61% of marketers say improving SEO and growing their organic presence is their top inbound marketing priority. 61%. And they say that because 57% of marketers and companies state that SEO, their ranking, is actually responsible for the bulk of their sales. That's their best and highest ROI. So we're going to cover the 2018 strategies, not old and dusty and crusty strategies that don't work and might even get you slapped by Google. I'm going to show you things that get you results quickly and things that work right here, right now. So we're going to talk about what really works to suck in free traffic and get applications. We're going to talk about crushing the front page of Google for massive traffic. We're going to talk about what strategies to avoid, what's going to kill your hyperlocal marketing results. And then I'm going to show you towards the about three quarters way through the session, I'm going to show you a secret weapon technique. This is a strategy that I am 100% positive you never heard of anywhere else, and it's going to blow your minds at how easy it is and how much traffic it sucks in for you. Then we're going to show you some quick, simple website tweaks that you can apply. Even if you don't like your website now, guys, these are things that you can use on your website, right? So these are things that you can start using even if you feel like you have a crappy website. Okay, so don't freak out if you don't have a good website yet, because a couple of these tweaks will definitely make it perform a heck of a lot better. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pause right here right now. And why don't you guys either tell me, or you can go check right now. I want you to check and see where do you rank right now on the search engines. So I'm going to pause right now while you do that. Now let me tell you guys how to check. A lot of people, what they do is they go to Google and they say, well, let me see where I rank at. And they go to Google and they type out their name or their company name or their website URL in the Google, and then they see it, oh, well, yeah, I'm on page 1. But that's not how you check. The way you check is first of all, you got to be logged out of Google and Gmail. You have to be 100% logged out. If you're logged into any Google tool, including YouTube, the results are going to be cookied results, not your actual organic rankings. So I get a lot of people saying, yeah, I just checked myself on Google and I'm on page 1. And when I go and I check them, I say, no, you're actually on page 19. And then they'll send me a screenshot going, see, look, I'm on page 1. And I look at it and I can see in the top right corner, well, you're logged into Google. Log out and do it again and you'll see you're not on page 1. You also have to search for keywords, not just one keyword. You have to search for things so that people would be searching for when they're looking for mortgage services in your hometown. So if I go to Google, I'm trying to see where do I rank for, mortgage home loans, St. Louis mortgage home loans, St. Charles mortgage home loans, St. Louis mortgages, St. Louis mortgage broker, St. Louis mortgage interest rates, things that are buying signals that people are searching for. Where do you show up in those rankings? Now, sometimes even if you log out of Google, if you searched for the terms enough, even when you're logged out, Google still knows who you are because they track you by IP as well, not just whether or not you're logged in. So really the truest test is to either use a third-party software or just ask somebody like a friend or a family member that's not on the same computer as you to Google you and to specifically only use keyword phrases, not search for you by name, because of course you're going to show up for your own name. That's not how strangers who've never met you are shopping for mortgage services. They don't know your name, so they're searching for city and town relevant keyword phrases of things that are close by and near them, right? So where are you guys ranking at? Does anybody here know where their rankings are organically? And if you're ranking, where you're at for specific keywords? Is anybody showing up? All right. Okay, so let's talk about why we want to use organic strategies. Okay, first of all, is it profitable? Organic strategies, guys, free traffic. Think about this. The people that are clicking on those search phrases, if you were to be running your ads through AdWords, for example, here's what you'd be paying. Check it out. The top 3 most expensive keyword phrases in America, number 3 is mortgage. $47.12 average. That's just the average. That's not the most expensive. Now, I do run a lot of Google AdWords ads for my larger clients. And sometimes those bids get into $70, $80, even $100 plus range. And they pay it. Why do they pay it? Because it's profitable. Because if you know how to convert, if you have a good back end, it's worth it. Because we don't care really what we're paying. What we care about more than anything else is ROI. But if it's worth it at $47 cost per click average, how much more so is it worth it if you can get that traffic for free? Because less than 20% of the people searching for a keyword phrase will click on an ad. That means over 80% of that traffic is going to the guys that are actually ranking organically and naturally, if you can get there and hold that spot, right? So I'm going to show you some techniques that'll get you there. And some of these techniques work in a matter of days. I'm not saying all of them do, and I'm not saying they're going to if you're in a hyper competitive market, you're just going to knock everybody out within a week. That's not how SEO works. But there are some hyper local SEM techniques that will get you there quickly. So let's talk about the old stuff. And guys, I've been teaching SEO since I first started actually teaching it in 2008, but I started using it back in around 2002. Back then it was super simple. I mean, boy, when you go back to 2002, keyword stuffing was the big thing. Keyword stuffing was super simple. But these are the things that will actually get you blacklisted. Things like keyword stuffing, no, don't do that. Blog commenting links, that worked great for about 2 years, maybe even 3 or 4 years. It still worked pretty good if we stretch it out. But these days, no. Blog commenting links, putting a keyword enhanced links, no, it's not going to help you. Backlink spam, and I use the word spam here because a lot of folks just used to go out and just randomly get whatever backlinks they could pointing at their website. So you could go out and pay $50 to buy a bot that would go out and just shoot out a bunch of backlinks for your website, and boom, there you go. Within a couple of weeks, you're magically on page 1. Not going to cut it these days. That'll, again, get you blacklisted. Now, citations, random citations, that's not going to get you blacklisted. Citations still work, they still help, but they don't work to the same level that they used to, and they need to be relevant these days. So that's why I list this here as something that's kind of old, is the guy's telling you just go out and get a bunch of citations, just get 20, 30 citations and you'll start showing up in the Google Maps. No, we need relevancy here, folks, and we need specificity. Complete profile setup, that used to be enough to get you into Google Maps because most people had incomplete profiles. That doesn't work in 2017, 2018. Okay, so here's something to keep in mind. A lot of what's being taught to loan officers by the quote-unquote gurus, and you'll realize this after you see the techniques I'm going to show you, they're at least 3 to 4 years old. And I tell you that to also tell you this: Google applies somewhere to the tune of 500 to 600 algorithmic updates each year. So if you're being taught strategies that worked 3 to 4 years ago, and there's 500 to 600 updates Google's applying to their algorithm each year, how effective do you think those old strategies are? They don't work, do they? And some of them will land you in hot water. Not all of them, but a good number of them are at least considered questionable. So what works? What works in heading into 2018? Well, let's completely reframe the way Google now looks at your website. Google looks at your website. First of all, your on-page elements are still very important, but a big part of any ranking strategy is using Google Sites these days. You need to use Google's own tools, and Google gives you a website creation tool. If you're not using it after watching this webinar, I'm going to send you an email and tell you you're crazy, because you got to be using it, because Google favors their own tools. So they're giving you your own website building tool. Why the heck aren't we using it, right? And there's a right way to use it and a wrong way to use it. Let's also look at what we call thematic ranking signals. They look at your website and treat it as a theme. It's not just about keywords anymore. It's the whole website as a theme. Content is still important, specifically long content, as opposed to short content. That means 500 words or more. And Google is all about prove it now. Everything that we want to rank for, it's a matter of proof. And this will make sense here once you start seeing some of the strategies. But first, let's talk about the keywords and how we pick out what we want to rank for. So I see some of you guys are answering, okay, I'm on page 32 of the ranks. Okay, I'm getting some all over the boards here. So I'm getting some pages 2. I'm almost on page 1, but not quite. Okay, here's a page 7, page 9, page 19. Okay, so it's all over the map there. Okay, and I got one person says, I think I might be on page 1. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at how to figure out what we even want to rank for, guys. Because here's the deal. If you go back to some of my early videos from 2010, 2011, what worked then was picking out just a small number of keywords and saying, okay, I'm going to put all my efforts into ranking for these 3 or 4 really powerful keywords that are getting a whole lot of traffic, right? That's what used to work back then. These days, I'm going to tell you the exact opposite, because that no longer works. because Google's in prove it mode. So if we just focus on a couple of keywords and put those couple of keywords on our website, it's going to start almost look like keyword spam. It's going to look a little questionable. These days, in order to avoid that spammy feel, we have to figure out what keyword phrases trigger things such as videos showing up on Google and content showing up on Google, and what falls into the appropriate theme. So when you think of the word mortgage, here's a test for you guys. When you think of the word mortgage, what are some things that don't include the word mortgages that comes into your mind? Go ahead and put it in the chat box there. What are some other words that are mortgage related but don't have the word mortgage in it that comes to mind? Okay, so Marilyn says home loans, David says loans, down payment says Bruce, home loans says Paul, financing says Eric, real estate says David. So we got another one for loans here. First time home buyers, lending, that's a couple good ones right there. Credit, there we go. Aaron's got it. I was about to say credit. Interest rates, equity. Buying a home, says Alex. Exactly. Foreign national, says Alex. Down payment assistance, says Blair. These are awesome. So do you see how just in a matter of less than a minute, in about 30 seconds there, you guys came up with several dozen words and phrases that are related? Or let's change that word related. Let's change it around to the word theme, just like what Google's looking for. Google is looking for a theme to your website, thematic. In the industry, they call it latent semantic indexing. Okay, but it's just a fancy way to basically say what are some words associated with your primary word that you want to rank for. And that's what Google's looking for, because that's authentic. That's how real websites typically are versus spammy websites. So the way to find out what Google thinks of when they think of the word mortgage, it's actually super easy. Let's go ahead and do it. We're going to do it right now. I'm not even going to show you guys a screenshot. I'm just going to go and do it. All right. So give me just a moment here. I'm going to open up a tab. And I'm going to go to Google. And here we go. So I'm at Google. I'm going to put St. Louis home loans, for example. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. Okay, why am I going to the bottom here? Well, because this is what I'm looking for. This is Google telling you about as bluntly as they can, these are the other phrases that we think are related. You know, these are things that also pop in mind. So first time home buyer, St. Louis, okay, St. Louis mortgage companies. So I'm going to go ahead and open those up and see what those get me. Okay, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing. Missouri first-time home buyers grant, St. Louis City housing grants, Better Family Life first-time home buyer, down payment assistance, first-time home buyer Missouri bad credit, first-time home buyer class in St. Louis. There's one that I hadn't even thought of. That one just completely caught me off guard. Somebody that's wanting to attend some classes. If enough people are searching for this term for Google to put it down here, that tells you that's a pretty big deal. So if somebody's looking for classes, that's somebody that's pretty serious about buying their first home, aren't they? Beyond housing, down payment assistance. So I would go ahead and then, boom, I would just open up a couple of these as well. Here's this one on grants, too. That's a good one. So the first-time home buyers grants, down payment assistance. But then I would wash, rinse, and repeat by doing, I would change this to St. Louis mortgage loans and do the exact same thing. So I would come up with different phrases, and each time I would scroll all the way to the bottom. So I got St. Louis home loans. I got first-time home buyers, St. Louis, Missouri mortgage brokers, mortgage companies, St. Louis, Missouri, and then I got a review link there. So each one, I just always go, I write it down on my sheet, and I scroll down to the bottom, and I see first-time home buyer tax credit. Somebody's looking at, there's another nice, unique phrase. Now, why do you guys think I'm looking at these phrases? Let's get some theories out there. Why do you guys think I'm looking at these? Do you think I'm going to try to rank for them? Yes or no? So I'm getting some yeses here. Would you be shocked if I told you no? I'm not going to rank for these phrases. I'm not going to rank for these phrases. Instead, what I'm doing is I'm going to feed Google. I'm trying to find out, what does Google view as being a theme for these particular phrases, or for my primary mortgage related phrases, and I'm going to include these on my site, right? So I don't even need to rank for these phrases. I just need to know, what does Google care about? Okay. Now, this is just step one. There's other tools that I can use completely outside of Google, and one of them you've seen me recommend before, but there's also a second tool that I recommend right here, and they're completely free, guys. You don't have to go out and buy anything. But Uber Suggest is great. And I would grab some of those keywords that I just grabbed off of Google, and then I just click Suggest. And what this is going to do is it's going to scan, it's going to come back and kick back a whole bunch of alternatives that I might not have even considered yet. And it's going to put them in alphabetical order. So the word consultants, there's another good one. Now, if I find a keyword that's good enough, I may try to rank for it. But the bulk of them, I'm just using to figure out the theme. So St. Louis mortgage. And here's the really cool part, is I can click down on this and expand my search. So I can actually take a look at the Google Trends and even expand the keyword and find other variations of it, okay? So I really, really like this tool, because it allows you to drill down and go through alphabetical order different variations of your keyword phrase, okay? So that's Uber Suggest, and then the other keyword tool is keywordtool.io. Now, you're going to see a drop down here that gives you the alternative to also search and do like YouTube and other things. Don't ever use YouTube's keyword tool. It sucks. I'm just telling you right now. I don't even know why it exists, to be honest with you. The Google keyword tool is way better than the YouTube keyword tool. It's just not anywhere near as advanced, and it just flat out sucks in comparison. So stick with the Google. All right. So it looks like this one wants me to subscribe if I want to get double the keywords, but I don't need it, because look at all these. I don't care about the rest of it. I got 2 pages of results. As I scroll through here, St. Louis 30-year mortgage rates, St. Louis refinance mortgage rates, professional mortgage, St. Louis, Missouri, St. Louis mortgage refinance. I mean, there's all sorts of things here that it's pulling the bulk of this data from Google. So these are giving me ideas for what I'm going to theme my website around. I'm going to show you how we theme a website in just a moment, okay? But I just wanted you to be aware of these free tools to come up with ideas. St. Louis Mortgage Calculator, that's one you definitely want to put on there. You definitely want to put something like that on there, because that's a big one. All right? Okay. So I'm going to go back to my slide here and go ahead and write those tools down, guys. You got Uber Suggest and you got keywordtool.io. And that's what we use to identify different keywords that we're going to use for our theme. So to kick things off with your, if you're wanting quick ranking results, guys, it's hard to beat getting a quick, simple, single or double page site out there using Google Sites. How many of you guys are using Google Sites already? Anybody here already using Google Sites? I mean, it's free, so if not, let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to go to the web here. I'm just going to close out on a couple of these, so that way I don't have a million different tabs open. Give me just a second here, folks. I'll have it open in just a moment. So you can actually just go to Google and just type out Google Sites. It's the actual URL is just sites.google.com. But when you get there, I mean, literally all you got to do when you once you've logged in, just make sure you have an account. You just click create. You can create as a classic site or a new sites. I want to do new sites. So watch what happens here. So it's loading up. Boom. Immediately opens up into a very simple website creator. So what we're going to do is, let's just say for the heck of it, that's my name. But you want to try to insert your keyword a couple of times on the page. This is all the simple stuff you probably heard a million times before. We'll get to the more advanced and the new stuff here very soon. But you do want to put a logo on there, and just like back in the early Google Maps days, when you upload your logo, make sure in the file name that you rename the file name instead of a bunch of gobbledygook. Rename it something that includes your hometown that you're targeting. Okay, so this is all just basic stuff. I can insert videos, I can insert a calendar, I can insert map, documents, slides, lead form, charts, sheets. You have access to all the tools, guys. Everything you need to create a simple page. You can even click pages here and create a multi-page mini site. You can control your theme. And if you have any trouble with this creator, Google already has all the tutorials right here that you can access. So there's no excuse in the world not to use this because it's point, click, simple. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything advanced. All we're doing is we're using this as a quick way to get one of our assets onto the front page of Google, because Google plays favorites with their own tools. Right? Now, on your main page, even though the website, I want it to be simple, on this main page, what do you think I'm going to tell you to do? Text. 1,800 words, if you can, on your home page, or at least somewhere on the site. Maybe make a page 2 if it's going to interfere with your conversions. Don't put all of that above the fold. Put the bulk of it below the fold. Put your lead capture elements at the top here. But why am I telling you guys to put about 1,800 words on the front page? Well, there was a recent study done on thousands and thousands and thousands of front page rankings. I believe it was somewhere to the tune of about 600,000 websites were analyzed, and one of the common elements on those 600,000 websites was, when they averaged it up, the pages that were making it to spot 1 and 2, that was what it averaged out to, was just over 1,800 words of text. And that's really shouldn't be all that surprising, just because Google's kind of played favorites with longer content anyhow. You know how even back in 2008, even back then, Google still preferred longer content. Remember the whole minimum of 500 words rule that I was always throwing out there? It still applies today. That part has not changed. So more content, guys, if you can. I'm going to throw another quick tip out there for you. Put the current year somewhere on the page as well. Not just in your footer, but somewhere in the content. Find a way to work the current year in there. So that'll be 2017 for now, but also for the day we're January 1, 2018. Put it in there, because a lot of people do search for the most current content by putting the current year in there, because they don't want old advice. And even if they don't do it, Google automatically plays favorites with the most up-to-date advice and content, because that's typically what people are looking for, is whatever the most up-to-date information is. I don't want old information, right? So does that make sense? Now let me give you guys some really, really cool tips here on what you can do with these pages. Check this out. It might seem like, well, what exactly am I going to do with this, and what should I put out there? But it's actually kind of cool what you can do with it. So the first thing is, guys, you can set up as many Google sites as you like. So I'm going to tell you right now, stop just going for general mortgages. Stop that, stop that, stop that. Have one page for general purchase, have one page for FHA, have one page for VA, have one page for first-time home buyer. Set up a different site, a completely different site for each major niche. I repeat, a separate site, not just a separate page, but a separate site for each major niche. These sites take minutes to set up. They're stupidly simple. And since your competition's not doing it, if I have 5 different sites, each one for a specific type of loan, I'm 5 times as likely to get onto page 1. And for some of our clients, we've managed to get and dominate almost the complete front page of Google for certain keywords because we set up multiple websites, each with a slightly different angle. So imagine that. What if you had spot number 1, spot number 2, spot number 3 on the front page? It's not as difficult as you might be thinking. So break down your keywords. Again, latent semantic indexing is just theme. Utilize and sprinkle in different phrases that are related to the mortgage industry that people might search for. I also recommend a dedicated page or even a dedicated site that's all about you as a brand. Because some people, when they research you, they will look you up. Don't you want to be in control of what they see first? So kind of a bio style page that consolidates all of your social media. Okay, guys, here's a page that tells you a little bit more about me and some of the people I've helped. Oh, by the way, here's my reviews on Yelp. Here's a link to my Facebook. Here's a link to my LinkedIn. Here's a link to my YouTube. Boom, 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 boom. Just start sprinkling it out there. And now you'll be in control of what the person sees first when they Google you. Because, again, Google plays favorites. It's easier to get this Google site to the top than it is a brand spanking new website. Treat your pages as if they're articles. Make them text heavy. Go ahead and throw videos on them as well. Okay, Tom is saying, do we need a new URL for each site or just the name is the site name? So yeah, Google lets you change and control the name of your URL. Okay. So yeah, you can choose what you want that URL to be. So here's what I was mentioning earlier. So the average length of top ranking pages on Google is 1,890 words. So we can't ignore that when that's an average out of over 600,000 websites on page 1. That's just too good to ignore, guys. And okay, yes, it means a little more legwork, but once you get that ranking, that's something that's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For those of you that hate writing, because I get a lot of people say, you know what, I'm just not good at it, or I just hate it, or I don't know what to say. You know what I do when I feel like I'm just suffering from writer's block and nothing's coming to mind, is I'll just use voice dictation. And I just tell myself, you know what would I say if I had clients sitting across from me right now and they wanted to know all about first-time homebuyer loans? What would I say? Okay, well, you got voice dictation software out there, or even on your own computer now. Just go and do a search for voice or voice recorder on your even your laptop probably has a voice recorder on it. Just record yourself speaking, and then that becomes your article. Turn that into your article. Type it out. That way you can clean it up a little bit, but it'll be more conversational. Because most people find it easier to talk about something than to write about something. Now, some of us are different. We prefer to write. But this will help you hammer out your content quickly. And heck, you could even turn it into a audio clip, a podcast, a video, if you want. You'll have multiple forms of content, right? So just a quick bonus tip for those of you that just absolutely just despise the idea of writing, okay? All right, now we're going to get to the new stuff. So that was just a quick getting started. Now I'm going to start getting you guys to some of the master stuff that you haven't seen before. So here's what we're going to do, because basically what we're going to be talking about is on-page factors of your website, thematic relevance. We're going to talk about proper siloing structures for your menu, headlines, and links. And then we're going to talk about something called authoritative subtopical thematic pages, which it sounds complicated, but it really isn't. They just like to get very technical with their phrases and terms, but in reality, it's way simpler than it sounds. So the best way for me to do this is, let me just go ahead and open up my website so that way I could demonstrate some of this stuff to you, because it's kind of difficult to sit here and talk about this stuff when we don't have a point of reference. So I'm just going to get logged in here, if you guys don't mind just giving me a moment. And then after I'm done showing you the next couple of techniques is when I'm going to get you to some secret weapon techniques that are going to blow your mind. Okay, so I'm going in to add a new page here. Almost done. Here we are. Now it's time to have fun. Okay, so this is how you engage in theming your website, folks. Remember we talked about finding those themes and those keywords that when you think of the word mortgages, what are some other words that come to mind? Well, here's what we do is our home page, or you pick one page on your website that you want to rank. And that's going to be your primary keyword page. So let's say that I wanted to rank for St. Louis mortgages, St. Louis home loans, and best St. Louis loan officer. Let's say those are the three keywords that I want to rank for on the front page of Google. And I really want to show up in Google Maps, because that's where the bulk of people are getting traffic, is if you're in that 3-pack or 7-pack of Google Maps, depending on where you're at. But that's really the holy grail, where you're going to get people calling you, you're going to get people getting driving directions, showing up at your office. I mean, you will get traffic from Google Maps. It's as simple as that. Some places more than others, but bottom line is you will get business from it. It will pay off. So we want to get there. And the beauty of it is it's not that hard to get there anymore, because most people have no freaking clue what they're doing. Most people that do end up there by accident. Now, some people by design, but the bulk, if you're flipping through looking at your competition, a lot of those folks just kind of ended up there by accident. But here's how we theme our website. Is I focus on just one page for each keyword that I really want to rank for, and then what I do is I create a theme around it. So that means I have one page that's all about, ranking for St. Louis home loans, for example. Then I come into my website and I say, okay, now I'm going to create theme pages around this this particular page. So I'm going to set up a whole separate page, and this separate page is going to be how to get a loan in St. Louis, bad credit. It's not going to contain my target keyword. Nowhere on the page is it going to contain my keyword that I'm trying to rank for, because this is a theme page. Now on this page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create. I'm going to oh, there we go. I'm going to create my headings. So I'm going to try to use my theme keyword that I'm not trying to rank for. I'm just using it as why does it keep doing that? There we go. My key was sticking there. And you always want to put those in some sort of a heading tag, either heading tag 2 or heading tag 3, and I can do the rest in my regular paragraph text. But then I just put my nice little article and tips here, and I just fill the page up like normal. But towards the end, I'm going to do a link that says learn more down at the bottom. And this is going to link to the page that I'm wanting to rank. And then I might put a second link to my next theme article. Nowhere on the page that I want to rank am I going to link to this bad credit tips article. Nowhere on that page am I going to link to this. But I will link this article to that page. Does that make sense? So it's a one-way link. A lot of people will tell you do two-way links, not with theme pages. Theme pages only need to be one-way links. That's very important. I'm not going to get into the technical reasons why. Just believe me, it's important. So my learn more, again, goes back to the page that I'm wanting to rank. This leads to my next article, and I might create 3 or 4 theming articles around that page. But again, they're going to only contain those alternative keywords that I'm not even trying to rank for, because I'm trying to prove to Google that I'm not spammy, and that yes, because of the fact that you see an article here on my page that talks about bad credit, another one that talks about buying homes, another one that talks about VA, another one that talks about FHA, you know, these other things that I'm not even trying to rank for, but we know are on theme. It's indisputable proof that yes, this is an on-topic website and it's most likely not spam. Does that make sense? Everybody with me so far? All right. Eric, no, this website, this is a WordPress-based website. So the Google sites are not meant to take the place of your primary website. They're meant to be utilized as quick, what we call piggyback ranking, and because you don't even have to use your own assets, you know, or URLs to rank. You can even do that with WordPress.com as opposed to WordPress.org. You can do that with Blogspot and Blogger, you know, other sites that Tumblr that let you create mini websites. All of those will rank faster than a brand new website that you just set up, because they already have some authority, because of the fact that, you know, in this case, it's, hey, because it's a Google site, Google's going to play favorites with it, right? Okay. All right, so I'm just going to pause here real quick. Does this make sense, what I've described so far? Do you understand the steps that I've described thus far? For those of you that maybe this is, because I'm about to go into overdrive here and throw you some really, really cool techniques, but before I get into that, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. For those of you starting to feel a little overwhelmed, I'm going to show you how to get a hold of some cheat sheets. All right, so I got some free cheat sheet downloads that'll help explain some of this, that you can just kind of go down as a checklist, so that way you don't miss any important steps, because I don't want you to try to remember everything I'm throwing at you here today, because I know it's a lot to absorb, okay? But now we're going to start getting to some of the really, really fun stuff. Now we're going to talk about what's called geo-thematic pages. Geo-thematic pages are very similar to what I just described here, except with one main difference. They're geographic specific. So this is what's really cool. Now before I tell you why this works or how to do it, let me explain to you why it works. Not too long ago, Google used to have 2 separate algorithms. There used to be one SEO algorithm for ranking on desktop, and then there was a completely separate algorithm that they used for mobile devices. But once mobile overtook desktop back in around 2015, between 2015 and 2016, more people started performing Google searches on mobile devices than they did desktops. So what happened is Google then just said, you know what, screw it. We're just going to blend the 2 together. So we now have a blended algorithm. And there's good with that, and there's bad with that. Here's the bad. Here's the bad thing about Google Maps. Maybe you guys aren't aware of this. How many of you guys have done a search for a restaurant near you or some sort of shopping place near you? Like especially if you're in some place unfamiliar. You know, like I'll say, okay, you know, what's the sushi restaurants near me? You know, or what's the nearest mall? You know, show me the malls near me or something like that. You know, Google will show me, and then it'll just kind of put them in order of what's closest, right, or what gets the best results, and it'll bring up the maps where it'll show me, okay, here's where you are, here's where these 3 options are. You know, would you like to go to the website? Would you like to call them, or would you like to get driving directions? Right? That's how it works. Guess where that little piece comes from? That comes from mobile devices, right? Because that's how people use their mobile devices. Is more people are starting to talk to their mobile devices than they are even typing in the search engines. So you just talk to Google. And the problem with that is Google now applies what's called a filter. And that is Google makes the assumption that people only want to travel within a single-digit mile radius if possible. So if somebody's researching mortgage companies, and let's say you're 15 miles away, even if you normally show up in the Google Maps, you're going to get filtered out. So again, that's another thing, is that a lot of people who think that they're showing up in Google Maps and showing up on the front page of Google, well, maybe they are, but if they were to search for themselves 7, 8, 9, 10 miles away, suddenly they wouldn't even be showing up on that front spot anymore, because Google's filtering them out because of that assumption. But there's actually a really, really smart way around that, and I'm about to show you right now, so that you can show up front page no matter, even if you're 15, 20, 30 miles away from somebody, you'll still show up in the rankings as if you're very close. They'll treat you as if you're very close, even though you're not. You're not tricking anybody, and you're not claiming that you are somewhere that you're not. There's no deception going on here. It's just a really, really smart hack. So this is something that you guys probably have never heard of before. So check this out. So I'm going to go to Google right now, and I'm going to do a search for my city. I want you to do the same things, guys. Just do a search for your city. So I'm doing a search for St. Louis. So let's say I wanted to show up in St. Louis. And then I'm going to click on the map that shows up at the top right corner. I'm going to just go straight to the map. And what's going to happen is Google's going to show this area is going to be outlined. See how it's all outlined here? This is showing me the actual St. Louis, official St. Louis city. So I'm not looking at the county, I'm just looking at the city. So let's pretend that your office is here, right? Let's say somebody is searching, you know, way over here, or even way over here. Your likelihood of showing up when there's other alternatives that are closer starts to drop significantly. It doesn't mean it drops 100% of the time, but the bulk of the time, Google's going to look for closer alternatives. So you're only going to get a teeny tiny portion of the potential traffic that you could be getting. But there's a nice little hack to get around it, and that is that I will come along here and I will look for, and I'll start to pin out what are some of the further reaches that people might be looking for my services. So let's say somebody's down here. So here's south of me, here's west of me, and here's north of me. So I'm just going to kind of come in here, and I might actually drop a pin, and then I will get directions. Okay, so let's pretend that I'm going to do, oh, it's not typing. I'm going to find locations that are north, west, and south. And I'm going to get driving directions. Okay, so this one's giving me walking directions. There we go. Give me driving. There we go. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to embed this. I'm going to get the embed code. And I'm actually going to embed this into my website. Now, I'm going to do this 3 times because I'm going to do circles around here so that even if somebody is farther away, Google's going to see these embedded maps. And it actually works. It's a hack. And suddenly I'll start showing up for these further areas because Google just makes the assumption, their algorithm makes the assumption that, well, there must be a lot of people coming from these other locations because he's putting driving directions. So I can actually put embed this driving direction map right onto my website. And so I'm going to have a page that says, for example, oh, if you're coming from West St. Louis, here's the driving directions. And then I'll just kind of talk a little bit about it, and maybe give some verbal or some text-based directions as well. And the way I embed this code, guys, is real simple. I just switch into text mode, HTML, and I just paste it. Boom. So I've now embedded the map onto my web page, and I'll set up a separate page for each area. So, oh, you're coming from North St. Louis. Boom. Oh, you're coming from West St. Louis? Boom. Oh, you're coming from South St. Louis? Boom. I don't connect them to my menu. I don't connect them to my pages. I just leave them out there for Google to discover because that's all it's there for. So, make sense? It's a pretty cool hack, isn't it? So that's how you beat the pants off the competition that doesn't know that. They think that they're ranking, but unless they're going and double checking themselves from an IP address that's 10, 15 miles away, from different points in the city, they don't even know at what point they're being filtered out versus at what point they're actually showing in the top page. So it's not inconceivable to get double, triple, or quadruple the traffic by doing this. Now, I just said north, west, and south just because for this particular example. Let's say that you are more centrally located in the city. Then you would do north, south, east, west. So it's almost like drawing an imaginary circle around your office at that point. So just kind of come from the different corners, where you might start to show up as too far away to start ranking. Okay, pretty cool, isn't it? All right, so let's keep going here. I'm just going to scroll through some of these questions. All right, so a couple other guidelines for you guys that I don't want you to forget about, because this is also going to make a big difference for you. Right here. Your menu on your website, whether it's a Google site or your primary website, always put the target city in your menu. If it's not in your menu, you're screwing yourself. You got to put it in your main menu. You should also set up an areas serviced page. So we proudly service the following areas. How do you create that page? Well, the best thing that you can do is ask yourself, when somebody's shopping for a home, what areas are they searching for? Because when I was buying a home, I didn't just put, oh, St. Louis homes for sale. No, I got really specific because I had specific areas I was interested in living. So I did surrounding regions. They didn't have to be in St. Louis City. It was, the metropolitan area, the county. I searched surrounding cities too. So that's what you want to do is we proudly service the following areas, and then just list out as many of them that you could be ranking for. All right? Now, when you set up an area serviced page, what should that look like? Well, I'm going to show you. Here's what you want to do. You're going to head on down here. You shoot over to Google. I'm just going to clear this up. Let me just delete this for now. Here's the easiest way to delete it. Just delete it in code form. So what you're going to do is you're just going to list them off in a list format and so forth. I mean, obviously you can dress them up, make them look nicer. I'm just throwing this on here real quick. And then what you're going to do is you're going to link and you're going to set up a separate page for each city. Again, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but here's the beautiful thing, guys, is SEO is not ongoing labor. right? It gets easier and easier as time goes along. The longer you maintain your ranking, the easier it gets. So this is all just initial setup. But unlike a lot of other forms of marketing that stop the moment you stop, once you get the stuff set up, it's actually very simple to maintain. So it's worth the legwork because you're going to have an asset built for yourself that other people don't take the time to do. So just set up individual pages for each individual city. And we're not going to link to them in our menus. Nobody's really going to see those pages. Again, they're just there for thematic geo relevance because the people don't see them, but Google does. And when Google sees this page, and it's going to see all these listings of these cities, and then each city has its own page, and each page for each city, we're going to put a Google map in there as well. See, what we're doing is we're using Google's assets to give ourselves a boost. Pretty powerful, isn't it? Another cool trick, and it works. It absolutely works. So you throw a little bit of text, and it's really quick and easy because the beautiful thing about those types of pages that you're not even really going to link to is they don't need to be beautiful pages. They're being built for Google. Now, we don't want them to be hideous either because every now and again people will kind of stumble across them from time to time, and you don't want to kill your credibility either. But you don't need to go overboard either. Just make it a very simple page and say, hey, we're very proud to serve Chesterfield, Missouri, and I might throw a couple quick tips about how the market's doing in Chesterfield to keep it on theme. And oh, by the way, here's some quick driving directions if you're coming from Chesterfield. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Pretty cool, huh? All right, guys. So if you need to take a breather for a moment, I told you guys we're going to shift into second gear now. Got some cheat sheets for you. Now you can request them by going to mortgagemarketingcoaching.com, and on my home page, let me show you what you'll see. Here's what I want you to do. So on my home page, there's going to be a little pop-up window that offers and says, "Hey, you can get the the free documents, blah blah blah, sent to you on Facebook." So basically, what's going to happen is it's going to send it on over to you. My bot's going to send over to you as soon as it becomes available. All right. So that'll allow you to put in that request. Just go to mortgagemarketingcoaching.com. It's on my home page. Or I'll be uploading it to my group as well on Facebook, my Serious Mortgage Marketing group on Facebook. So you can use either of these links to grab and request the free cheat sheets. So again, my bot will send it to you as soon as it becomes available. But you got to click because Facebook's really touchy about that when you make a request, because what's going to happen is it's going to send it over to your Facebook Messenger as soon as it becomes available as a download link. So you'll have to click to subscribe to my bot to get that information. And that way you won't miss, because I actually have a couple cheat sheets coming around the bend here within the next couple of weeks, because this is kind of a two-parter, because there's a lot I want to talk about before 2018 hits, so you guys can get a good head start, okay? So make sure you subscribe to that bot to get all the free stuff I'm going to be sending over. They'll make exactly what I'm teaching you here today very, very simple and point-and-click simple, okay? All right, and I see some wonderful questions coming over, guys. I'm not ignoring you. I will circle back and answer your questions, okay? I promise. So I will get to those as soon as we're done here. So again, that's mortgagemarketingcoaching.com, guys, to request that free cheat sheet. I'm assuming you're going to want it because we're covering a lot of good stuff here today. All right. Okay. So all right. So let's get going here again. All right. So we talked about the secret weapon strategy, the creating dedicated pages for immediate surrounding areas. But I also want you to do the same thing for surrounding cities. So if we go back and look at that St. Louis city that was outlined, that was just the city proper. But if we look at St. Louis as a county, then I have surrounding cities and other counties as well. You know, I got St. Charles, right? Yeah, I got all these other cities. Some of them might be called townships, some might be cities, some might be incorporated, some might be unincorporated. I mean, you got all these different variations. But bottom line is what you're most concerned about is how do people search? How do they search? Right? If I'm looking for a home and I want to live in a specific area, I'm not just going to throw St. Louis out there because, you know, if I'm looking at St. Louis as a county, that's what, 2 million people? 2 million plus? That covers a lot of distance. I'm not interested in living just anywhere. I probably have even certain neighborhoods and subdivisions in mind. So for the surrounding cities, guys, just go back and pull up that map. Let's go grab that map again on Google. And if I just kind of zoom out, I start to see some of these other areas here, right? So here I got St. Charles, I got Chesterfield, I got Town and Country, Webster Groves, Kirkwood, Crestwood, Valley Park, Melville, Oakville. You know, I start to see these other areas that perhaps, you know, do I want to show up in some of these areas? Do I want to do loans here? I'm assuming the answer is yes for most of you. You know, you can cherry pick. I mean, if there's areas that you say, you know what, the average loan there is 80 grand. You know, it's just I'm not going to put forth a bunch of effort to get an $80,000 loan. You know, but you know, over here I might be doing, you know, 600, 700, $800,000 homes, right? So you know, that's definitely something that would go onto my list, depending on what my niche is. So we just create the separate city pages. We don't have to link them in our menu. Just throw a little bit of content on there. All right. Oh, David, yeah, if you're trying to join my group, so I get a lot of messages like that a lot of times that say, hey, you know, your Facebook page, it's still showing as pending. If you try to grow my group, if your profile doesn't say loan officer on it, or if you didn't answer the questions, because there's a little window that pops up when you go to join my group and ask if you're a loan officer, I get, my goodness, each week I probably get about 50, 60 people that are trying to sell the loan officers trying to join my group. And that's why, if it doesn't say loan officer, that's probably why it didn't get approved, or if you didn't answer the question, say, yes, I'm a loan officer. So what I would recommend is go ahead and just apply again and just make sure that you put in there, yes, I am a loan officer, and you'll get approved right away. Okay? So that's all you got to do. But I get a bunch of spammers, and then I even get you know, other trainers trying to join my group and trying to solicit you guys. So yeah, I'm pretty rabid about that. So because I know it's frustrating. Okay, perfect, David. So yeah, you'll get approved today then. All right. So any questions on this particular technique as far as the Google Maps? And for those, I did see some people asking, can I do that on my Google sites as well? Absolutely. Google Sites allows you to embed maps right onto the page, and they, you know, naturally Google owns both, so they integrate perfectly. So I would do integrate at least 1 or 2 maps onto your Google Sites as well. And there's nothing wrong with creating separate pages for separate areas, or separate Google Sites pages for separate areas. So I might have one Google Sites for St. Charles and another one for Chesterfield, another one for St. Louis. Make sense? All right. Awesome. 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 Okay, so let me flip back here real quick. All right, so here's another secret trick. Now, this one, I've talked about something similar in the past, but the strategies are slightly updated these days. So when you set up your Google Maps page, your Google Sites, and even your primary website, you have the opportunity to upload images, right? So what we want to do when we're uploading our images, and here's just a slight tweak, is in the past, you would name the images just your target keyword phrase. Now we want to primarily make them city and geo-specific image files. So in other words, if I'm saving a picture to my computer, that file name is usually just going to be a bunch of gibberish, right? You're going to have a bunch of letters and numbers and dashes. Just click, go into your computer and click to rename that file and name it your target city keyword phrases. And we then want to turn around and upload them. We want to upload them to high authority photo sharing websites such as Instagram, Flickr, Imgur, PhotoBucket, TinyPic. In my cheat sheet, guys, if you requested my cheat sheet, I'll give you the top 15 websites to upload to, the photo sharing sites. And this is a big one. This one has pushed some rankings that were kind of stubborn, that weren't quite getting into that 3-pack on Google Maps. Once we went in and did about 15 to 20 website uploads to these photo sharing sites, boom, that was enough to push it over the edge, and now suddenly we're in the 3-pack and getting traffic, which is awesome. I mean, who doesn't want that? Okay, make sense? Aaron, yes, you definitely want to claim your Google business page. And that's something I kind of glossed over a bit at the beginning, my apologies, but I've done a lot of claiming webinars in the past, you know, how to claim your Google business page, so I didn't really talk about it today, but I suppose that I should circle back and just say, guys, that is definitely something that you must do. You absolutely must do. If you haven't claimed your Google business page yet, or listing as they call it, then you absolutely need to do that. That's part and parcel of exactly what we're talking about here. You gotta be out there. You gotta be on Google Maps. You have to be Google Business, Google Plus, and whatnot. Just set that profile up, because that's going to serve as your core foundation. So something else I should point out there, guys, is also Google yourself and see what other sites you might be showing up on, such as Yelp, Yahoo Business, Bing, Facebook Places, other directories. Make sure that there are no listings on Google indexed at all that have incorrect location information about you. If they do, you need to scrub them off of the web, because that will screw up your rankings quicker than just about anything else, minus going out and doing something dumb like keyword stuffing, you know, or doing something spammy. That's the biggest killer of a lot of loan officers. Otherwise, what would have been good rankings and easy rankings is Facebook or Google's getting mixed signals. They're getting mixed signals because you're showing up on a bunch of different websites, and how does Google know how to delineate between good information and bad information? They don't know which one is really you. So if you Google yourself and you're finding other directories or other listings of you with incorrect information, then do everything in your power to get that off of the web, because it's killing your rankings. It's definitely dragging them down, at least. Okay? Now, if you have a Google rank listing that's incorrect and that was uploaded by somebody else, you can petition Google. I've had to do that for clients before, where I had to petition Google and just say, hey, this is damaging to my client, but it was uploaded by somebody else, so I don't have the capability to edit this. Please get in touch with me. And what will happen is Google will respond. It could take a little while. It could take up to a week. But Google will eventually respond, and they will give you an opportunity to prove, okay, can you prove that you are the business owner? And so they'll make you jump through just a couple small hoops just to prove you are the business owner. And once they've identified you as the business owner, then they unlock that listing and they will either allow you to merge it or delete it completely. All right. So if you find incorrect information out there, challenge it. Get it off the web because it's not doing you any favors. All right. Yeah, you can set up your own. So I see some of you guys are asking about multiple loan officers in one location, and that's a common concern. And yes, you can actually have multiple accounts showing up in one location. Okay, so if you put your name in the title, for example, to delineate yourself as different, or even put like, office number 13, or, do you have cubicles? Do you have an office? Well, maybe you're third from the right or something, then put office number 3 or something along those lines to delineate. It just tells Google that, okay, there's more than one person occupying this commercial building. It used to be a big problem with Google back when they first launched Google Maps and Google Business, but what finally changed it was you had a lot of doctors and attorneys, because you may get dozens and dozens of different doctors and specialists in one hospital or one medical suite, and they each wanted their own individual Google Places account, right? So same thing with attorneys. So all right. Chad, what about compliance information and MLS number? Yeah, all of that. Yeah, you definitely want to put all that in there as well. Typically, you'll just kind of put that into a footer area. Okay. So yeah, you definitely want to put on there. All right, guys. So how many of you guys learned something new today? Is there anybody here that knew everything already, or did you guys learn something new? All right. So this is the beginning. I've touched on. I wanted to give you guys good, usable, and some solid strategy. There's a lot more that can be done though, to where you could just take over the entire front page of Google. There's a lot that can be done to rank even faster. There's traditional Google search ranking plus the Google Maps ranking, other search engines. There's a whole lot that you can do to just suck in free traffic. But I want you guys to ask yourself a couple questions. First of all, how's it going to feel for you when you're page number 1 in Google for multiple keywords? What impact does that have on your business? What does that do for your income if you're able to pull in hundreds of borrowers going to your website every month? Because again, let's look at the cost if you had to buy this traffic, because this is the very same traffic that other companies are paying the $47 on average cost per click. So if you're able to get 200 or 300 of those clicks and you got yours for free, you basically got yourself over $13,000 worth of PPC traffic for free per month. I mean, that's crazy. That's awesome. That's amazing. So what does that do for your business when you have an inbound traffic mechanism in place and you're delivering those borrowers daily? Now, there's more that goes into it, guys. There is more that goes into it. Okay. So Aaron's desk number 3 closest to the copier. Put that in your Google account. I would click on that. I'm the guy close to the copier. I would definitely click on that one and give you a call. But really, how's it gonna transform your business? Because I know we're at the end of the year. Okay, we're just a little, about a month and a half, less than a month and a half away from 2018. So we need to start getting our ducks in a row and getting our strategies out there. And one of the things that I'm really wanting to focus on for loan officers is, complete market domination based on free traffic, because it's something that has predictable results. And especially with maps, you can rank in maps and with Google Sites a lot quicker than you can a traditional site. So a lot of things that take 3, 4, 5 months to see results when you're dealing with hyperlocal, there's a lot of things that you can do to get now business, fast business. So yeah, that's something that I definitely want to focus on with loan officers. So I'm working with what I call 90 days of market domination. Okay, So basically what that means is we're going to be preparing a, think of it as a done with you type strategy. Done with you. And let me pull that up here. My apologies. There we go. My slide was stuck there for a moment. There we go. Now we're showing up. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 90 days of working with you, done with you. And I mean, basically it just comes out to monthly around $299. Okay. And that's only for those 3 months. It's not an ongoing. Okay, it's just for those 3 months. And I'm taking on 2 groups of 10. So I'm going to work with a grand total of 20 loan officers for this market domination, where we work with you hand in hand to A, get your presence out there. Okay. B, give you all the tools necessary to optimize, so you don't have to screw around with a bunch of technology and remember all this stuff, because that's typically the big block for a lot of people. That's the big spinning my wheels issue is, hey, you know what, I'm trying to learn all of this stuff, but then I got all this technical stuff too, and technology and blah, blah, blah. It just gets to be overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's that simple. We take that away. So you need a theme, we give you a theme. Oh, you need landing pages, we give you landing pages. Your ranking strategies, well, you'll be working with me live. Right, so I'm working with the group every single week. So you're going to have opportunities to engage in additional traffic strategies. This isn't just Google with traffic generation shortcuts. First-hand reviews of your page by me. Now, for those of you that look at this and say, well, that sounds great, but I'd rather have all this done for me. I only have 3 spaces for done for you clients. So I'm willing to consider individuals for that as well, but you'll need to reach out to me and we'll need to talk, because it's not just some off-the-shelf package and I try to pigeonhole you. No, I talk to all of my clients first to make sure we're a good fit, because I'm hyper busy, you're super busy too. We need to make sure we're a good fit, right? I need to know exactly what needs to be done to get you from here to there before I take on anybody as a done-for-you client. Okay? So some things that we're going to be covering is SEO. We're going to be covering hyperlocal. We're going to be covering Google Maps, video SEO, social media SEO, website conversion hacks to cover more, to capture more leads. So we're not just there for traffic, but we're also going to show you how to capture more. We're also going to be working with directories such as Yelp, Yahoo, Bing, review sites, testimonial sites. We're covering everything that's needed. Okay. So our goal is to help you basically tap into thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in traffic for free each month. And what you're doing, what you're building with me, guys, is an asset, something that will benefit you over and over and over. I have assets that I built 9 to 10 years ago that still send me free traffic today. Now, my traffic is nowhere near as expensive as your traffic, but still, I have saved myself probably close to 6 figures in traffic that I was able to capture for free that I otherwise would have had to pay in the form of PPC. Now, I love PPC as well. I think every solid business should have both organic traffic as well as paid traffic, because you never want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? However, the ROI potential of free traffic that just keeps delivering over and over and over again is incredible, incredible, incredible. So every training will be recorded, so you will get access to video archives. I will review everything that you've done to make sure that any errors or mistakes are taken care of. And this begins, guys, the actual training begins and kicks off December 1st. So just under 2 weeks from now. However, I'm only taking on board 2 groups of 10. I limit each group to 10 because that's the easiest way for me to give you a high level of attention. So those spots will likely be filled. Typically, I have them filled within about 48 to 72 hours after these sessions because I try to talk to everybody first. They would be gone in a day if I could get everybody on the phone in a day. But the way, if you're wanting to apply and be considered for one of those spots, guys, just go to mortgagemarketingcoaching.com. mortgagemarketingcoaching.com. I'm going to type that out and put it in the chat box so you guys have that link. All right. There we go. So everybody should have that link now, mortgagemarketingcoaching.com. Would you also be offering this training in January? My masterminds, when I do my masterminds, I basically offer them a couple of times each year because they do, they are a pretty significant time investment for me because I also have, as I mentioned in an earlier webinar, this is probably going to be my final year of doing this type of instruction for loan officers, okay, 2018. Just because I've been contracted by a lot of larger companies and more larger companies, and those accounts, as you might imagine, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I have 80 grand a month I want to spend on traffic, can you spend it for me? That takes up a much larger chunk of my team's time than if just an individual loan officer. So my time is much more limited. So I only roll these out a couple of times each year. Okay. So I wish that I had more time to help more folks, but only so many hours in the day. And I've expanded my team little by little over the year as well, but our client base has grown exponentially, in the form of larger companies because they were happy with the results. So it's like, boom, okay, now we got 75 loan officers we got to feed. Okay, so we'll take care of that. So no promises as to when I'll be opening the doors in this again. All right, it's not. I'm not trying to create some, fake scarcity here, guys. I mean, if just when you see me doing webinars, that's typically when I'm opening the doors, and I do a couple of webinars like this each year. So yeah, but we take care of the providing the all of the tools that you're going to need, and folks, bottom line is if you wanted to replicate what we've done here and the experience that we're bringing to the table, keep in mind I've been doing SEO for loan officers for 10 years now. Actually, technically a little bit longer than that, but 10 years is 2008 was when I really rolled it out big time. I mean, I started doing it in 2005, 2006, but on a really small scale, just a very onesie twosie scale. But we really started opening up the doors in 2008, and each year, on an average year, I spend somewhere to the tune of about 11 to 12 grand on my continuing education. That means sometimes I fly to large events, or one year I even hired a coach. It cost me 20 grand to hire him. But spending that week of going over and updating and testing and tweaking all of our SEO processes, more than paid for itself, with what we've learned. So to have access to all of this for so cheap compared to what it takes to learn all the things that we've learned, and we don't just take people's words for it. We test and tweak on a very high level. A lot of the development and programming that goes into the building of the assets and the copywriting and the graphic creation, and there's more cost than just what I've mentioned here, but just what we spent in the past 2 to 3 years, and we're putting all of that at your disposal as part of this program. So it's definitely a heck of a deal, guys, and I wish I could get everybody on board. but we're going to need to just chat and make sure that we're a good fit. MortgageMarketingCoaching.com. When you go there, guys, when you go to MortgageMarketingCoaching.com, let me show you what to do. If you want to be considered, here's all you got to do. Just go to MortgageMarketingCoaching.com and click Fix Your Biz. It's right here. This blue button. Just click there, and that'll bring you to my appointment page. Okay. So what you're going to do is that's my scheduling page where you're going to request your free strategy session. So that's just going to be 20 minutes for you and I to chat. And you'll just grab a slot here. Just pick a slot, and then I'll ask you a couple questions, and then you'll just confirm. All right, that's it. That's all you got to do to request a slot. And we'll chat and take a look at your scenario and see if you're a good fit. If so, you'll have an opportunity to reserve your slot. If not, then I'll be the first to let you know if it's not a good fit. And if I can make some recommendations or say, hey, well, maybe this would work better for you, then I certainly will. All right. So that's how we can work together. If you really want to get this stuff going, start tapping into that free traffic and really give yourself one heck of a head start for 2018. So I'm excited. And yes, you will get an opportunity to have a brand spanking new SEO-friendly website as part of this process. So that's pretty exciting right there, just in and of itself, getting a new fast-loading SEO-friendly website. That right there is, it's built specifically with doing this in mind and with conversion in mind, because there's certain layouts that perform better than others. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of questions coming over here. I see a hand raised here too. Ben, I see you have your hand raised. Was that intentional, or did you want me to unmute your handset, or was that an accident? Okay. Now I'm just gonna, if you guys give me just a moment, going through the questions. All right, Aaron. Yeah, just click on the blue button there to fix your biz when you're at mortgagemarketingcoaching.com, and then just answer those questions. All right. All right, so Scott, you're asking about better quality or realtors. You mean, is this better to target as from that angle, or no? I'm just making sure I understand that question real quick before I answer. Okay, so, all right, Penny, Ontario? Okay, absolutely. Okay, you got it? Okay, perfect. I'm scrolling through the questions here. Will you be sending out? Yes, Eric, I will definitely try to get a recording of this sent out. If it doesn't go out this evening, I'll try to get it out by tomorrow morning. Jay, yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming at first. But the beautiful thing about it is, what I like about this is once you get it all set up, it's done. Maintaining SEO is not a big deal. It's, for most people, it's just the process of getting it all set up. That's the pain in the butt part. But when you have somebody showing you every step, it definitely makes it a lot easier. I can vouch for that. That's why I hired a high-end coach for myself. And the 20 grand seems a little excessive to pay to learn something like that. But knowing without the shadow of a doubt that I was learning from the best of the best, and that I could go full bore at what my goal was without stopping and questioning all the time. I wonder if, what if this guy sucks? What if he's just teaching me a bunch of claptrap? No, I knew I was learning from somebody who had an international reputation. Multi-billion-dollar companies would even consult with him. So I was honored, and it cleared the way for me to say, okay, now I can put 100% of my effort into this without stopping and questioning. And that's the real benefit here is things go from overwhelming to, I'm just going to go down this checklist and do exactly as you tell me, so that way I end up with a predictable result. Okay. So I'm seeing some more questions here, which is right between, okay, I'm going to be specializing in VA loans. This is between major military bases. Okay. Eric, you absolutely can. So the answer to your question is yes. So if you're specializing in VA loans, just being right between those different bases, yes, the strategy would work ideal. In fact, I'll tell you what you should do. When you're setting up the driving directions, map embeds, go ahead and grab them as if they're driving from the bases. They'll give you even more relevance. So the fact that you're targeting VA, absolutely. Okay, any issues with duplicate information on Google Sites pages? So just to make sure I'm understanding, Philip, do you mean duplicate as in taking information and content from your primary website and also including that on your Google Sites page? Or do you mean having duplicate content from one Google site to another Google site? So just making sure I'm understanding. Okay, so from one Google site to another, it's okay if some of your content is duplicate, but when I say some, I mean just some. There does need to be some unique content as well. The general rule is it's not set in stone. And I mean, I can point at several websites I've seen that were just nothing but duplicate content that still managed to make page one ranking before. But I've also seen plenty of websites be penalized for that as well. So by virtue of that fact, the general rule of thumb is about 60% unique, 40% is okay to be duplicate. Okay, 60% unique, 40% duplicate. I would prefer a higher percentage of unique, but you can still get away with 60-40 as long as you're not in a hyper competitive market. Okay. All right, great. Scott, got you down? All right, so Aaron just came up with a with an all new idea. So here's Aaron's unique take on it. What if you did a video of driving to the office? Well, there you go. So now you got the best of both worlds, Aaron. Absolutely, that's creative. So yeah, you can point out all the cool stuff along the way. So what's the typical costs of maintaining all websites? Doug, you really don't have a lot of costs when you're SEOing a website. I mean, really, SEO is typically an investment of time. You may have web hosting costs. That's typically about it. I mean, some people will outsource some of the tasks. So, that can be a potential cost, but you have the capability to do it yourself, or you can, pay to have somebody do it for you. It's either or. But outside of your web hosting and just whatever you typically have for your website, such as, I recommend you have a back-end CRM or something for your leads, costs like that, an email autoresponder, but again, those aren't necessary for SEO. Those are just recommended tools to help you with your conversion, capturing leads and turning them into closed loans, right? So outside of that, I mean, it's really just what your web host and your domain name. So Mike, what if you work remote and don't really have a customer-friendly office? Should I use the headquarters or my home address as my office location? Now, some people will set up a virtual office. Now, keep in mind there's a couple different things you can do when you're setting up your Google account. One of the things that you can do is you can tell Google that you will serve clients at their locations. And then you just tell them what area do you service. So it's basically essentially just saying, hey, we come to you, and these are the areas that we can come from. So you have that option if you work remote or don't want customers showing up at your location. And it's the same with your home address, because if you put your home address there, you might get some people trying to come to your house. And heck, I mean, some loan officers are okay with that. Some folks are like, yeah, maybe not so much. So so yeah, you can also put a virtual address out there. So you can either use a virtual address or just tell Google that we go to the client. So does that make sense? And for a virtual office, you get things like you get buildings and whatnot that would allow you to you can actually Google virtual addresses, and they're pretty cheap. It's basically if you want to, it's almost like renting a mailbox at a location. But there's actually certain companies out there that allow you, if you want to buy, quote unquote, a virtual spot in an actual office building, for whatever purposes, you can do that. So they actually give you a physical address that you can use. All right. Okay. Awesome. 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 Okay. So I'm just scrolling up because I got a lot of questions here, guys. Okay. So all right. So there's another one on the duplicate content. Okay. All right. And service page. And yeah, guys, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to go over, because I see a lot of you guys saying, hey, we got multiple locations. What do we do in those instances? And there's still a lot of similarities. If you have multiple locations, there's still a lot of similarities to how you would treat that, but there's also some differences. And unfortunately, the bulk of folks on here, are single location, so I didn't have time to teach both. So unfortunately, I don't have time to go over a plan of attack for somebody that has multiple locations, but there is a legitimate strategy for somebody with multiple. My recommendations is, if that's you, just go to mymortgagemarketingcoaching.com and fill out a strategy session request. Because there's definitely a strong plan of attack for that as well. Chad, will this map embed hack work for other nearby towns? Absolutely, Larry. Absolutely. But within reason. So, nearby being a relative term. Here's a general rule of thumb, is Google likes to keep it in single digits. And to prove that to yourself, just start looking for, things near me and look at how they prioritize whatever's, because it's quite literally, you're asking for what's near me, what's close by. So they're always going to try to customize and filter for what's closest. So there's a natural bias in the search results for whatever's closest to you. So as such, try to keep it to single digits, because there's a lot of loan officers out there and a lot of mortgage companies out there. Chances are somebody's going to be closer. So you can use the video embed hack, but once you start getting too far away from your office, that's when Google starts to look at it and the algorithm says, hey, we got some closer alternatives here. So the map embed, the driving directions embed works, but only to an extent. If you start going out too far, it's going to be much less effective. All right. So has everybody got that link? Is there anybody here that's kind of on the fence about wanting to do this, but maybe has some questions about what starts on December 1st? I'm more than happy to answer for you. So if anybody's kind of on the fence, just go ahead and put that in the chat box, or say I have questions. More than happy to answer that for you. Okay, so Chad, are you linking up these Google sites with landing pages, or what is the main goal, call to action, of getting this organic traffic to the Google site? Well, because you want to put calls to action on your Google sites as well, and you can get, actually, we want to try to get phone calls, so you're going to have a call to action on your Google site. specifically asking for phone calls, but B, you can embed lead forms directly on the Google Sites as well. So lead capture forms. So essentially your Google Sites act as kind of a miniature landing page anyhow. So yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to capture the leads. And these are people that are out searching for your services based on the keywords they entered. So if you've ever tried capturing a cold lead versus capturing a lead that's already, or a prospect that's already searching for your services, the difference in conversions night and day. You know, people that are actively hunting mortgage services or house shopping in Google, when they end up on your landing pages, the conversion rate is many times double or triple what you're probably used to, you know, if you're used to cold traffic. I mean, it's not uncommon. We've hit almost 40% conversions before. It's pretty astounding. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not promising and saying, hey, everybody's going to get, you know, near 40% conversions. No, I can't make that promise. But what I can tell you is we've hit those numbers pretty consistently in a lot of areas. I mean, if we're down to even 20% conversion with this type of traffic, we're considering that, oh, hey, something's wrong, which a lot of people find funny because to them they're used to like 1% conversion or 2% conversion, whereas here we're hitting 20 and going, this sucks. You know, I want to be back at 30. So yeah, the traffic it's hot traffic because you got to think about the mindset of the audience. If I'm taking time out of my day and I'm Googling when I could be out watching the latest, you know, funny cats videos or something, you know, it tells you I've got something going on. Either I've already found a home or I'm ready to get serious about buying a home, something. So therefore, the conversion rate is just that much higher. Chad, are Google Sites mobile responsive? They sure are, Philip. Google Sites, Google, one of their important ranking factors is actually if it's mobile friendly or not. So Google Sites are definitely mobile responsive. All right. Did everybody get their request in for the cheat sheets? Make sure you put those requests in. So you can get those at mortgagemarketingcoaching.com as well. At the homepage, there's a little pop-up window that will connect you with Facebook. And it's my Facebook Messenger bot. As soon as I upload the cheat sheets, probably tonight, it'll automatically shoot it over to you as a download. So you can just download and snatch it right there. So yeah, again, that's mortgagemarketingcoaching.com. And I did see a couple more questions come in. I think for maybe folks who weren't, you know, maybe at their desk at the time. It's the blue link. It's Fix Your Biz is where you go on my homepage at mortgagemarketingcoaching.com if you want to request a strategy session. If you just want the cheat sheets, then just click the little pop-up that'll appear. It's not appearing for me just because it'll only show once if you've already filled it out. It's not going to show a second time, which I've already filled it out when I was testing all the setup. So, all right. Okay. Absolutely. Sounds good, Aaron. Look forward to chatting with you. All right. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate all of you sticking around for so long. And did I miss any questions? I definitely want to try to get to them. If I missed anything, then by all means, folks, just pop them on in here. Okay. Will we use this as our main website? You know, to be honest with you, some people do. Some people do use Google Sites as their main website. I mean, you can. I mean, if all you're doing is setting up a funnel, then absolutely. But I mean, you know, with that said, I would recommend that you have a primary website that's maybe a little more sophisticated than a Google site. But the Google sites, if you don't have a solid web presence now, it's definitely a good starting point to where you can actually start engaging in marketing. It'll get you through. The primary purpose of the Google site is to serve as a buffer and as a piggyback way to get to the front page of Google much faster than the traditional methods. That's the purpose. Does that make sense? So it's not intended to be your primary website, but could it serve temporarily as your primary website? Yes. I mean, I actually have clients who've had it for over a year now, and they're still using them. So because, I mean, there's no rush. But at some point, would I recommend, something a little more meaty? Yes. But for lead capture purposes, it's actually excellent. Can I set up a domain name? Yes. Yes. You can either use the provided domain names that are provided by Google. So you use their inbuilt, and they'll let you kind of customize it a little bit. Or you can actually go and map and point an actual domain name, like let's say you got a GoDaddy domain or something along those lines. You can point those at a Google site as well. They're pretty flexible. Okay, Chad, can I point, or can I link Google Sites to my WordPress sites? Yes, you sure can. Absolutely. Dennis, yeah. In fact, it's definitely a good thing to do because it again, kind of serves as a buffer for you. So it'll definitely give you a nice boost from an SEO standpoint. All right. Okay, folks. Let me just make another pass here real quick. Chad, when will you send out the recordings so I can rewatch? I'm going to try, Chris, to get those out this evening, but no guarantees. Just kind of depends on when I get off these calls. Usually I take a look at my calendar, and usually that means I'm going to be instantly packed as far as phone calls. So I try my best to get those out, but it'll be no later than tomorrow morning. So if I can't get it out to you this evening, the replay will be out by the morning. Okay? Awesome. Okay, folks. Anybody on the fence or have questions about the mortgage marketing coaching and being a part of the group of 2 groups of 10? If anybody has any questions on that, you can also email me. I'm cweber@averagejoelo.com, or you can join me on Facebook, or just head over to mortgagemarketingcoaching.com and reach out to me there. All right, folks. Well, I thank you again for joining me, and if any questions pop up in the meantime, shoot me a message, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Make it a great rest of your day. Bye now.